stress, tension, headaches, all part of our everyday lives. We can't always escape to a serene location, but we can learn to relax in the comfort of our own home. For centuries, massage has been used as a natural way to relieve stress and headaches caused by tension and strained muscles. Massage helps to increase the flow of oxygen and nutrients to your cells, while at the same time helps to remove cell waste that can make your muscles feel tired and sore. This video will teach you the most effective, time-tested techniques for natural relief. Mr. Will Green, president of the International Massage Association and owner of the oldest and largest stress management center in Washington, D.C., has trained over 200 massage professionals. Now he will show you the fundamental massage techniques that address the most common problem areas: the back, the shoulders, the neck, and the head. Because proper positioning is so important, this video features the mat, a positioning device that ensures that you have proper musculoskeletal alignment when laying face up or face down. It is available in several models. The original mat is used in this instructional video. All of our models provide the same positioning functionality and comfort. Additional models and other massage products are listed in your instruction booklet. Thank you for purchasing our product and inviting us into your home. Now, let's join Mr. Will Green.
Hello, I'm Will Green. It's my pleasure to introduce you to the world of massage. Have you ever banged your knee or bumped your elbow? Your first reaction is to start rubbing it. It's instinctive, it's natural. You want to rub where it hurts. You probably don't even realize that you're doing this. Massage is the best natural way to relieve the aches and pains of stressed, tired, sore muscles. When muscles are overworked, they tighten and restrict the flow of fluids. They start to ache and sometimes even cramp. This muscle tension can lead to even more stress and even to headaches. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to relieve this muscle stress and tension with techniques and methods used by professionals. First of all, you must be properly positioned to receive or give a good massage, and the mat is the perfect device to ensure you are properly positioned and completely comfortable. The mat is equally effective both face up and face down. Notice our model in the face up position. We have her body move towards the lower end of the mat. We have the roll under her knees. Now, if you purchase a mat without a roll, we're going to take a pillow, and I'm going to show you how to use a pillow under her knees. We simply bunch up the pillow and put it under her knees, and now she's back in the same position. But because we have the roll, I'm going to take just a second to put the roll back, because we're going to use the roll in our video. There we go. Now, up at the top end of the mat, at our model's neck and head, we have taken the face cradle, taken the legs off of the face cradle and placed it on top of the mat. Now she has support for her neck and for her head. And I want you to notice the natural curvature of her low back on the mat. I want you to notice our model in the face down position. Her body is resting entirely on the surface of the mat. Her hips are gently rotated with her thighs and her knees angled down towards the bed. We have the roll underneath of her ankles to rest her, support her calves. But if your kit doesn't have the roll in it, I want to show you how to use the pillow. So I'm simply going to remove the roll and take the pillow and place the pillow on its side underneath of her ankles. And now she's nice and supported, so the pillow takes the place of the roll. But because we have the roll in the mat, I'm going to put the roll back because we're going to use it in this video. Now moving up towards the head of the mat, I want you to look at the large air space in the underneath the face cradle with plenty of breathing room. I want you to notice that her face is resting gently in the face cradle, which takes all the stress off of her neck and shoulders. As a matter of fact, all the stress is gone in her whole back because her hips are gently rotated and her neck is nice and extended with her face in the face cradle, very unlike a position she would be on a flat bed with her head twisted. While our model is preparing for her massage, let me demonstrate and describe the three basic strokes that we're going to be using. We're going to start with the most fundamental stroke. We call it the whole hand stroke. We're going to use the whole surface of our palm and the surface of our fingers, the whole finger pad surface. So I want you to roll up the sleeve on your left arm just a little bit. Take your right hand. I want you to mold your left arm with your right hand, going back and forth across the muscles, just very gently. It's a very gentle stroke. It's a very nurturing stroke. And just go back and forth across your left arm, molding. The second stroke that we're going to use is a fingertip stroke. We're going to use the pads of the fingertips. So if you take the pads of your fingertips on your right hand and go back and forth across the muscles on your left forearm, you're going to find a bump. You want to feel that bump back and forth on that muscle. Kind of bump, bump, bump. Now, the secret is to be reaching out of your fingertips the whole time in all of these strokes. The third stroke that we're going to do is harder stroke. It's a thumb stroke. And the idea is to use the pad of the thumb without using the thumb muscles. So you want to extend your thumb as far as you can and take your thumb pad across the muscles on your left forearm. Back and forth, back and forth. It's a thumb stroke. It's a thumb stroke that's extended. Now the thumb has simply become an extension of your arm. So watch my arm, my whole arm is moving. So let's just make a little bit of a recap. We have three basic strokes. The whole hand stroke, molding, 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 reaching out of your fingertips. The fingertip stroke, the pad of your fingers bouncing back and forth across the muscles. And the thumb stroke, reaching out of your thumb, going back and forth across the muscle on your left forearm. Be sure that both hands are touching the person being massaged at all times. I suggest that you view this video in its entirety for the first time and then get set up and watch it again, pausing at the end of each segment to practice what you've learned. Looks like we're ready to begin, so relax. Let's have some fun learning about massage. We'll begin with some diagrams of the main muscle groups that we will be addressing. The first diagram is the diagram of the trapezius muscle. We call it the lawyer muscle in our offices because it's a muscle that gets tight when you lean over and read a lot. You work on a computer or you're a student. The trapezius is a surface muscle. It's the muscle that we address with the whole hand stroke. The second diagram is the diagram of the levator scapula muscle. The levator scapula muscle lifts our shoulders when we're stressed. If you're wearing your shoulders for earrings, you probably know all about this muscle, at least effects of this muscle. And finally, the erector muscles. The erector muscles run up either side of the spine, all the way from the bottom to the top, and they cause the spine to be shortened when they're compressed, which oftentimes shortens us as much as an inch or inch and a half. You can refer back to these diagrams later in the tape. Now let's get started with the backstrokes. Now we begin with your class. To start with, I want you to take a little bit of oil and put a little bit of oil in your hand. I want you to take this oil and I want you to rub it between your hands. It's very important that you warm it up. You never want to put cold oil on anybody's back. And we're going to start by spreading the oil completely over the back, all the way down the arms to the elbows, up the shoulders, all the way up the neck. Now, I want you to put lots of oil on the back. I want your hands to be able to slide nice and comfortably so that you don't get any friction build up between your hands and the hands of your friend. So we're just going to massage a little bit more oil in, put a little bit in your hand, and rub your hands together and warm the oil. Very important that you warm the oil. Now what we're going to be sensing is we're going to be sensing some cool spots and some warm spots. Wherever we find a cool spot, that denotes that we've got lack of circulation. So what we're going to do is we're going to really want to work those areas of the body that are cool. So you'll probably find a little bit of cool spots down near the hips. You're going to find little cool spots up in the shoulders on a lot of people. So we're going to start out working the erectors, which run directly up the back from the bottom of the spine called the sacrum all the way up to the skull. And we're going to work the latimus dorsi muscles. We're going to work the trapezius muscles. And we're going to work all these muscles with some very simple strokes. Remember the whole hand stroke? The whole hand stroke is where we start. We always want to work on the spine from the hips up to the neck. So we start working the opposite side of the body with the whole hand. But remember, we always keep both hands on the body. So if you want to give a really great massage, I'm going to give you the first secret. Mold your hands to the body. Relax your fingers and watch my hand. My hand is molded to our model's body. Back and forth, nice and gentle strokes. Lots of overlapping. Makes the whole body feel like it's being well taken care of. Now you notice that I just switched hands. Well, I switch hands when I get right to the center of my body. And I start again with the hand closest to the hips. Back and forth, molding to the body. Nice relaxed fingers, relaxed palm. When I get to the center of my body, I'm going to switch. Now the more we switch, the less tired we get. Remember we said if we don't use our finger muscles, we're going to be able to do this for hours. What tires us out is using little tiny muscles instead of using larger muscles. So we're going back and forth. Now what I'm doing now is working the first layer of muscles. This is the layer that's on the outside directly under the skin. In this case, it would be the latimus dorsi and the trapezius. So the lats are down here on the low part of the body. And the trapezius starts right about here, which would be in the middle of the back. And goes all the way up to the shoulders and up to the skull. And how many times are we going to do this? Well, you're going to do it until you're comfortable. Until you're comfortable, until your friend's comfortable. And normally I might do this for 5 minutes on each side, which is a great way to start. So I'm just going to show you the stroke, and we're going to talk about it just a little bit. And what I want you to do is I want you to repeat this stroke on the opposite side of the body when we're done. Back and forth, molding, 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 molding. And as you begin to relax your friend on the bed, what you're going to feel is you're going to feel the muscles become more fluid. They're going to become softer. And it changes the whole feel of the back. So you might want to ask your friend, how does this feel? Is this too much pressure? Is this enough pressure? How does it feel to you? How does it feel to you, model?
Wonderful.
Good. Back and forth. And I'm probably going to do this for another minute, just to relax her back. Get it nice and relaxed, because if I can get permission from the first layer of muscles to go through them to the second layer, it's going to be much easier for me, and it's going to feel a lot better for her. Going back and forth. Very simple, gentle stroke. But you notice that my opposite hand is molded to her back as well. Back and forth. Nice, gentle stroke. Now we're going to go after the second group of muscles that we want to massage at this point, and they're called the erectors. And the erectors run all the way from the bottom of the spine to the top of the spine. But we're going to start right above the sacrum. The sacrum is a triangular piece of bone that comes right down at the bottom of the spine. So if you watch my finger pads, I'm going to bounce across the erectors on the opposite side of the spine. Does that feel okay?
Yes.
And I'm bouncing. I want to go click, 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 click. I want to bounce across that muscle. If I bounce across it, it's going to start to unravel. And as it unravels, fluids are going to move between the muscle fibers. It's very deep, but very gentle. And we start again at the bottom. We're working in one direction, from the bottom to the top. And for the most part, when we work on a muscle, we're going to work on the part from the part of the muscle that's attached to the main frame to the part of the muscle that moves. And since the muscle connection of the erectors is at the base of the spine, we're going from the base of the spine to the top of the spine. But I'm going to stop right at the shoulder, top of the shoulder. Back and forth. Bump, 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 bump. Now remember, reach out of your fingertips. Reach out, reach, 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 reach. Don't be using your little finger muscles, because they'll wear out and you'll be tired. And if you do this properly, you can do this for a long time. Back and forth. These are probably, after 25,000 hours of massage, these are probably the two most effective strokes that I use in my massages. And you're getting them right here first. back and forth across the erectors. Now, if you start feeling friction because you don't have enough oil, put another little bit more oil on your hands. And you're going to find that the cool spots start to disappear and become warm spots because you've increased circulation within the muscle. Now, our model happens to be a dancer, so her spine gets used a lot. Her erector muscles get used a lot. And most of us have tremendous stress in our back because we sit. And these erector muscles don't get stretched. And if they don't get stretched, they get tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. And as we age, we get shorter. So if we can relax these erector muscles, we're going to get longer. Because the erectors actually support the structure. They support the spine so that we can have length. Now what you're feeling is something like a rope. It's like a little rope. It might feel like a steel band, and if it does, it's going to take a long time to get it relaxed. But after just 10 or 15 minutes of erector massage, a person feels unbelievably different. Back and forth. Bump, 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 bump. If you don't feel the muscle moving back and forth, then you want to start again. Start at the base and feel the bump, bump, bump. It's like a little piece of rope, a little piece of band. And you can probably see it bounce in the camera. Bounce, bounce. Good. It's the erector bump. And you're going to do this for a total of about 5 to 7 minutes on each side of your friend's back. Bump, 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 bump. And already I can feel them getting softer. And that's good. That's what you're looking for. And you're going to feel the difference. Because a healthy muscle is soft and fluid. And now we're ready to take a break and practice and go on to the next segment. Yeah, you finished the erector muscles and you've worked both sides of the back, and that's good. So now we're going to move up towards the shoulders and get to the base of the neck. And what I want you to do is I want you to do a couple of the strokes you just finished. Do the whole hand stroke. Because we're going to transition now into the shoulders. So do a whole hand stroke, and then do an erector bump. Bump, 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 bump. And switch hands in the middle of your body. And now we're going to take our finger pads and we're going to push them all the way across the shoulder. Back and forth. All the way across. And we have a bone right here. It's called the scapula. And it comes right here. In fact, if I lift her shoulder, you'll see it sticking up right here. There's the bone. We're going to work on the scapula, and we're going to work on the two muscles that cause the most headaches. We call them the stress muscles in our center. They're called levator scapula muscles. But you can just call them the stress muscle. And the stress muscle runs from the shoulder blade all the way up into the neck. And it's got a very unique possibility because it works backwards from almost all the other muscles. The part that's connected to the frame is way up in the neck, and the part that does the moving is down in the shoulder blade. So whenever you get stressed, you notice that your shoulders lift. That's the stress muscle, the levator muscle. It's like an elevator for the shoulders. So when you see people wearing their shoulders like earrings, you know that they've got lots of stress. So we're going to work across that shoulder with our finger pads. Now remember, we're always going to keep both hands connected. We want plenty of oil. This should be a nice, easy, flowing, sliding movement. Back and forth. Now we're going to move down just a little bit. You're going to feel some crunchies. And just work back and forth across those crunchies with your finger pads. Back and forth. Now if it's too much pressure, make sure that you ask the person that you have under your hands if that's okay pressure. Because you don't want to be deep enough that it causes pain. We're going to move a little bit further over. When we get right on top of the shoulder blade, or the scapula, there's a little muscle that runs right up the center of the scapula. And oftentimes that muscle is very, very, very tight. Be very gentle when you first go across it. It's called the infraspinatus muscle. And you can catch it with either hand, but just the finger pads going back and forth across it. How does that feel?
Good.
Feels okay?
Yes.
This is a muscle that really affects people that do sports like swimming, or politicians that wave a lot. It's a waving muscle. So we're going to go back and forth across it. And this muscle helps hold the arm up when you're in the waving position, or helps you pull down when you're in swimming stroke position. So we're going to work a little bit on the infraspinatus. We're going to go back and we're going to work some more across the shoulder. So we're catching the levator muscle, the stress muscle, back and forth. And we can take this whole stroke and we can cover this whole segment of the shoulder with this finger pad stroke, back and forth across the whole shoulder. Now I want you to go around to the other side of the bed, and I want you to do the other side of the shoulder. So work that for just a little bit. And then we're going to go move up to the end of the bed, and we're going to take our thumbs. Remember, we taught you the thumb stroke, and you're going to reach your thumb out of your hand, and your thumb's going to become an extension of your arm. And we're going to take the pad of the thumb, and we're going to run across that stress muscle, back and forth across the stress muscle. Now, what's the stress muscle do? It puts the shoulder blades up around the ears, so back and forth. Now we're going to switch and go to the other thumb. Now watch the movement of my hand. You see my thumb muscles aren't moving. I'm reaching out of my thumb, reaching out as far as I can go, and I'm going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. There we go. Does that feel okay?
Yes.
And I'm going to stay on the same one for just a little while. And it's crunchy, and it's kind of like a thick rope, and you can feel it go crunch, crunch. So make sure you ask the person under your hands how that feels, because you don't want to be too deep into that muscle. And then we'll switch to the other side, and we're going to do the same thing. Back and forth with the thumb pad, moving the whole hand across the stress muscle. And we're going to work that stress muscle. Now, how long do you work a stress muscle? Well, I've worked on one stress muscle for as much as 3.5 hours. But the truth is, 5 or 10 minutes is great. But if you start moving your thumb like this, you're not going to last 5 or 10 minutes. So remember, keep reaching out of your thumb and use your thumb as an extension of your arm. So you're going to go back and forth. Now you notice that I always, always, always stay in contact with both hands. I'm not going to leave anybody and disappear from them with one hand so that they wonder where my hand is. I want to keep them completely comfortable. And I also want to make sure that they feel secure under my hand. Does that feel okay?
Yes.
So working back and forth across the stress muscle, back and forth. Now you should stay here for probably 5 or 10 minutes on each side, and make sure that your friend's shoulders begin to relax. This is probably the most important muscle in stress, is the levator muscle, the stress muscle. Now also up underneath of this muscle we have the trapezius muscle that comes up here like this, and it comes up the shoulders up into the neck. And we have to go through the trapezius muscle to get to the stress muscle. So remember, that's the one that we did with the first stroke that we did, the whole hand stroke. We got the trapezius muscle softened up. Now we're going all the way through it, and we're working on the stress muscle, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Now I would venture to say that 75% of the people that need massage need this muscle massage, if not higher. May even be 80 or 85%. So if you specialize in stress muscles, you're going to do great. You're going to have a lot of fun, and your friends are going to love you. This is a really fun muscle to work on because it's small and it's easy to get to, and it relaxes pretty quickly. Back and forth. What happens when the stress muscle gets tight? The shoulders are up around the ears. What you're feeling is you're feeling some density in the muscle. And as the muscle gets more fluid, it has more fluid running through it, it gets softer. Because for the most part, tight muscles are dehydrated. They're lacking fluid. When the passageways in the muscle get all clogged up or full of stuff that shouldn't be there, then the muscles get hard and tight. What does stress do? Stress compresses us. compresses our muscles. So we're getting rid of that compression in these stress muscles. Back and forth, back and forth. Now I want you to keep an eye on my thumb because I'm not using my thumb muscles at all. So how long do I want you to repeat this? As long as you want to, but at least 5 or 7 minutes on each side. Then I want to teach you another stroke that's a really superficial, fun stroke that will just relax whoever you're working with. I want you to take both of your hands and place them on the shoulders. I want you to run your hands gently down to the top of the pelvis, make a nice little loop, come back up and off the arms. So it's a whole hand stroke again. Down the back, make a nice little loop, up the back and off the arms. And it feels really good. And it kind of ties everything back together because we've worked on a little part here and a little piece there, and now we're going to put all the muscles back together into one big group called the back. So we've worked on the lower back, we've worked on the middle back, we've worked on the upper back and shoulders. And I hope you've had a lot of fun doing this because pretty soon we're going to get into the next segment, which is going to be the neck and the scalp. You've done great. You finished the first 2 segments. You've done the back and the shoulders. Now we're going to work on the neck and the scalp. So we're going to start with a nice wide stroke on the shoulders. So we don't need very much oil now. There should be plenty of oil left on your friend's back. And we don't want to put a lot of oil on the neck, so we're going to just do a nice wide whole hand stroke. And I want you to take the pad of your fingers and I want you to run gently up the side of the neck to the skull, off the shoulders and up the neck. Just a very gentle stroke. Just a nice gentle pull. Now make sure that it doesn't create any discomfort for the person that you're massaging. Does that feel okay on your scalp? On your skull?
Great, yeah.
Feels good? Good. So we're going to pull just a little bit and just pull just a little bit. Then we're going to start our fingers, middle fingertips down the center of the back, and we're going to pull gently up and pull the skull just a little bit. Nice and gently, dragging our finger pads up the spine and pulling just a little bit. Now what are we doing? We're creating a length in the neck because we want to work these muscles right here, the erectors. So with our thumbs, we're going to bump, 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 bump the erectors away from the spine. Just bump. Or we can take our middle finger pads and do the same thing. Bump, 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 bump. And we're going to bump these muscles away from the spine. There we go. Bump, 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 bump. And we'll bump them 8 or 10 times. And then we're going to go back and we're going to stretch. So it's stretch and massage and stretch and massage and stretch and massage. Because the erector muscles now are the very top of these muscles that we work down lower. They come all the way up to here. And they feather up into the back of the skull, which is called the cranium. The trapezius muscle comes up here and connects right here. So as we drag and we pull and we stretch, we're stretching the trapezius muscle and we're stretching the erector muscles. And that's a really good thing to do. We want to get lots and lots of stretch in the neck because we can get rid of all that neck compression. And why in the world does our neck get compressed in the first place? Well, because the weight of our head is being held up by our neck muscles. And gravity is working against us. So gravity is constantly pushing our head down into our spine. And what happens is a lot of people get a big bump right here in the back of their neck. And that bump can be completely flattened out. See, our model doesn't have one. A little tiny bit of a one right here, but hardly any. Because she's nice and stretched and long. So if you feel a big bump right here on anybody, you know that you can get rid of that by creating a length in their spine. So we're going to pull a little bit, and we're going to bounce, bump, 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 over the erectors. So we're going to drag and drag. Does that feel good?
Yeah.
And drag, and then bump. Remember, you can bump with either your thumb pads or the pad of your middle finger. But either way, you want to use your thumbs as an extension of your arm, or your middle finger pads as an extension of your hand. You don't want to be using the muscle in your fingertips. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it feels really good. And what's going to happen is you're going to feel the muscles, because they're about smaller than your little finger, you're going to feel them soften up. Drag and drag. Drag and drag. And how long are you going to do this? Oh, you can do this for 8 or 10 minutes. 6 or 8 or 10 minutes. Now, right beside the neck, we have two little muscles. I'm going to take my fingers, my index finger, straight down, and I'm going to go back and forth across the side of down the side of the neck. And these muscles are called sternocleidomastoid muscles, and they actually connect at the front of the neck, but they connect right up at the ear. So I'm just going to take the side of my index finger, and I'm going to rub back and forth across that muscle and relax it. Does that feel okay?
Yeah.
This is not a deep stroke. This is just a gentle stroke. So back and forth, back and forth. Now we're relaxing the front of the neck. So we relax the back of the neck, the erectors. We relax the trapezius by stretching, by pulling and stretching. Now we're going to relax the sternocleidomastoid muscle on the side of the neck. Now the neck's going to get longer, and the chance of getting a headache is much reduced. One of the highest stress areas of the body is the stress muscle in the neck. Now we're going to do a little dragging and pulling. Dragging and pulling. And I can feel a different length in our model's neck already as it's relaxing longer and getting longer and longer. And we're going to pull and drag and pull. Drag and pull. Drag and pull. Now I'm going to go back and I want to check those stress muscles. And they're much different than they were when we started. And they're softer, more pliable, more fluid. Now, if a person has migraine headaches, these muscles may be really tight. They usually are. And you may have to spend a lot of time on this muscle to get it to relax. But if you'll spend a little bit of time, quite often, you're going to achieve your goal and get rid of those headaches most of the time. Back and forth. Now the other side. I'm going to take that thumb pad again and go back and forth across the stress muscle. You remember the first stroke we started with? The nice wide stroke? We're going to go back and repeat that a little bit. And see if those shoulders don't feel softer to you. Now the erector muscles and the trapezius muscle, they feather up into the skull. So we're going to take our hands like claws and we're going to make little clawing circles. Does that feel okay?
Yeah.
Make little circles. We're not going to slide around on the hair. We're just going to place our fingers, press our fingers against the skull, and then we're going to press and we're going to do little circles. We're going to relax the whole skull. It's an excellent way to relax a person, take the stress out of a person's neck and shoulders and scalp. And we forget that we have muscles all over our scalp. Our skull is covered with muscles. And the tension in these muscles can do all sorts of things to even affect your vision. It can even affect your hearing. In fact, they tell me that it even affects hair growth. If that's the case, I need lots of it. There we go. Does that feel okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm taking my finger pads in a clawing position. I'm doing little circles. Good. Well, you've been a great student. We're going to finish up by tying all the muscles back together and putting the body all back together. And there we go. And you've learned how to massage. Practice. Have fun. Post-massage care is very important. There are certain things that happen after a massage. First of all, we've released lots of toxins into the fluids of the body. So in order to clean those out of the body, it's necessary to drink lots of water over the next 24 hours. We suggest as close to a gallon of water as possible over the next day. because it's imperative that you wash out these toxins that we freed up. And if you have a little soreness, which is not really uncommon, a good hot soak usually alleviates the soreness pretty quickly. Now I'd like to review what we've gone over in this course. And here are the points to remember. Use the mat. Proper position is extremely important, whether face up or face down. Feel for cool or cold spots. Cold spots denote tightness in the muscles. Use lots of oil. It's important that you don't create friction between your hands and your friend's skin. Always keep both hands touching the body at all times so that your friend will be nice and secure. Set a relaxing atmosphere, maybe some nice soft music, and a nice, comfortable, calm environment. Massage should be firm but never painful, so be careful that you don't put too much pressure on your strokes. Massage until the muscle feels relaxed and fluid. Take turns and enjoy. Thank you for the opportunity to introduce you to the world of massage. A few moments of practice will give you a lifetime of benefits.